almost 20 years later, this is still one of the hardest things to watch. Alright, I'll be honest. I love me a good blooper. It doesn't matter what sport it is, I'll watch them all. There's just something about seeing someone who is supposedly the best of the best fall completely flat on their face. It's nice to see people be human. And it's always fun to wonder, if you were in that spot, would you have messed up that bad? MLS, like any other league in this country, and like any other league in this world, has its fair share of bloopers. Remember this one in the 2016 season, back when Sean Johnson was on the Fire? Yeah, pretty sure he didn't mean to throw it there. How about the 2009 Western Conference Finals? Not a player blooper here, but more of a blooper on the stadium staff. Lights out. I love what John Hark says on the broadcast. Listen.
I wasn't in the script.
No, I told you to pay the bill.
I told
you to send in the money, JP.
I read the format. It's not in there.
This is getting ridiculous. You never pay bills on time.
And I can't do a blooper video without mentioning Kai Kamara. Kai Kamara, top 10 goal scorer in MLS history, with maybe the worst miss I've ever seen in my life. Let's just pause the video right here. That ball is on the line. You could not put it in an easier spot to score. Any easier, and the ball would be in the net. It would be a goal. You don't even have to be a soccer player to be able to score this. Just run into the ball. Hit it with any part of your body and it's going in. Just not with the hands. That is the one part you can't hit it with. Oh, that's bad. That is the second worst blooper in MLS history. Yeah, that's right. I said second worst blooper. To see the worst, we have to go way back to MLS Cup 1999. DC United versus the LA Galaxy, a rematch of the first MLS championship, and also played in the same venue as the first meeting, Foxborough Stadium, home of the Revolution. Yeah, this was before the fancy new Gillette Stadium. I'll get to that in a second. DC in the early days were the team in MLS. They had won the first two MLS Cups, and in 1999, they won their second Supporters' Shield. After losing the Cup final in an upset the year before to the Chicago Fire, they were now trying to win their third MLS Cup in the league's first 4 years. The LA Galaxy, meanwhile, were still searching for their first Cup win. In the 96 final, they led DC United 2-0 before blowing the lead and losing in extra time. In 98, they won the Supporters' Shield, but like DC, lost to the Chicago Fire. 1999 was supposed to be the year. It was supposed to be redemption. Something unique about this game was that both teams had new head coaches in 1999. Bruce Arena left DC for the U.S. men's national team, and in came Thomas Rongen. Pretty good replacement. And the LA Galaxy replaced Octavio Zambrano with Siggy Schmid, who came over from coaching the U.S. Well, U.S. under-20s. MLS back then was different than what it is today. For instance, they didn't have the head official keep time and have the fourth official show how much extra time there was. No, time was counted down from 90 to 0, and there were no ties. Games just ended in a shootout. This was set to change in 2000, but Commissioner Don Garber apparently couldn't wait that long. So MLS Cup 1999 was the first MLS game, not counting US Open Cup games, which always follow traditional FIFA rules, to have a clock count up. Okay, the countdown clock is kind of weird. I never liked it, and I'm glad they changed it. I just think it's kind of strange to make a dramatic change like that before the championship game. Now, everything I've been saying should have been the storylines of MLS Cup 1999, and maybe they were. But that's not why everyone remembered this game. They remembered it for one single moment. MLS Cup 99 did not get off to a good start for the Galaxy. Robin Fraser, the captain of the Galaxy and the MLS Defender of the Year, goes down with a collarbone injury and is subbed off just 9 minutes into the game. Subbing on for Fraser was Steve Jolly. Not a bad player by any means, but certainly not an upgrade. 19th minute, one of the worst goals I've ever seen. Off the throw-in, Steve Jolly heads it to the top of the 6-yard box. Yeah, not sure that's the best place to put it. Then, after Hartman makes a kick save, Paul Caligiuri whiffs his kick, and Jaime Moreno toe pokes it into the net. Does this count as a blooper? I mean, I feel like it almost could. That's 2 pretty bad mistakes in the box. LA got close to equalizing a couple times. This header hit off the post, and Kobe Jones goes down in the box. And that could be called, but it's not. Still 1-0. The Galaxy were down, but still had hope. Until...
Jolly back to Hartman. Lassiter pressures and Hartman still under pressure. Out of the net. The easiest goal he will score in his life. And DC with a 2-0 lead. What was Hartman thinking?
What just happened? So Roy Lassiter pressures and Hartman whiffs. First of all, he's lucky he didn't get picked off there and get scored on that way. But then, instead of launching the ball out, he dribbles and he kicks the ground and serves the ball on a silver platter to Ben Olsen. The only thing that could have been worse than that play is if Ben Olsen would have missed it, which of course he didn't. I mean, that is 2 blunders by the same player on the same play. I checked the stat sheet, and they didn't give Hartman the assist on that goal. But honestly, they probably should have. So, what happened? Maybe this was a case of LA just having a really bad keeper. But wait, no, that's not it. It's Kevin Hartman, who won Goalkeeper of the Year in 1999. He's also number 2 on the all-time MLS list for most career saves. He made it to a total of 5 MLS Cup finals. I mean, this guy is kind of a legend. Just with a really bad moment here. Now, let me be clear. Yes, this was absolutely an error on his part. This blooper is on him. But there's something else that has to be said. Look at that field. That field would be bad for high school standards. Look how bad of shape it is. And this is for the MLS Cup final? Like I said, this was Foxborough Stadium before the turf of Gillette Stadium was installed. Most critics of MLS were ragging on the league for playing the 2018 final on turf in Atlanta. And yes, grass is always preferred to turf. But let me ask, what would you rather have? This or this? Honestly, this was just a case of really bad scheduling. There was an NFL game 6 days before, which obviously tore up the field. Now, in 2018, there was also an NFL game 6 days before the MLS Cup. But 1, this was on turf, so the field didn't have any damage. And 2, you only know who's hosting the MLS Cup after the conference finals, so it's kind of hard to prepare in that way. In 1999, the MLS Cup was at a predetermined site, so scheduling it like they did, not exactly the best choice. What's ironic is that when this play took place, John Maisner for DC slipped when playing his ball forward. The field is partially to blame when DC turned the ball over, and the field is partially to blame for this epic blooper. Nobody scored in the second half, and DC won MLS Cup 99 2-0. And this game is mostly remembered for that one single play. The good news for Kevin Hartman is that it definitely has not been the last time a keeper made a boo-boo in the final. Remember 2015? Or, hey, even more recently, remember the 2018 Champions League final? DC United took home their third title in 4 years and established themselves as the first dynasty in league history. The LA Galaxy lost again, and after losing their third MLS Cup just 2 years later, they started to earn the reputation of the team that just couldn't win the big one. But don't worry, that soon changed. In a big way.
Together, like we were something more.